In tonight's rewrite, another episode of the politics of religion.
I guess my question is, do you believe it's a sin for a white man to marry and procreate with a black?
No. Next question.
That question is not as crazy as it sounds, especially when you consider the teachings of Brigham Young, who just happens to be the only Mormon leader Mitt Romney has ever publicly praised while running for president. Brigham Young was president of the Mormon Church for 30 years, and Mormon belief holds that the president of the church talks directly to God. So when the president of the Mormon Church tells you what God is thinking, Mormons listen very carefully. On March 8th, 1863, Brigham Young said in a sermon, "Shall I tell you the law of God in regard to the African race? If the white man who belongs to the chosen seed mixes his blood with the seed of Cain, the penalty under the law of God is death on the spot. This will always be so." So there is Mitt Romney's hero, Brigham Young, telling him if he has sex with a black woman, he will die on the spot. And this will always be so. Brett Hatch, the 28-year-old Ron Paul supporter who asked Romney today if it's a sin to marry and procreate with a black woman, tried to quote something written by Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism. Mitt Romney cut him off when he heard the beginning of these lines. Quote, "And there was a blackness came upon all the children of Canaan, that they were despised among all people." Racism's grip on Mormon practice has been so strong during Mitt Romney's lifetime that it was not until 1978, 10 years after Martin Luther King was assassinated, 1978, that the Mormon Church suddenly decided to allow black men to become priests in the Mormon Church. Mitt Romney was 31 years old at the time. If we had a candidate running for president today, or any nominee facing Senate confirmation, who belonged to a racially exclusive club until he was 31 years old, that man's candidacy for the presidency or for the cabinet or a federal court would be doomed. But in America, the politics of religion has spared Mitt Romney the embarrassment of having to address this issue, because it is the virtually unanimous position of the political press corps that no candidate should ever be asked any challenging question about the candidate's religion. At the same time, the very same political media believes it is appropriate to ask any presidential candidate to speak warmly about his or her relationship with Jesus Christ and no other religious figure, only Jesus Christ. Indeed, the press judges the candidates on how well, how artfully, how convincingly they portray their so-called publicly proclaimed Christian faith. But as the Romney campaign knows, town hall meetings do not operate according to the press corps conventions, and so the Romney campaign knows it might get hit with this kind of question again.
I guess my question is, do you believe it's a sin for a white man to marry and procreate with a black?
No. Next question.
The Romney campaign has no fear that the next question from anybody in the media will be, did you ever believe that? Did you believe it in 1968 when you were 21 years old and Martin Luther King was killed and the president of the Mormon Church kept teaching you that it was perfectly reasonable to not allow black men to become priests? When did Mormons stop believing what Brigham Young taught them about the African race? We asked Mormon officials to help us with these questions today, and in response, they directed us to a post on their website that they put up about a month ago. It states, "The church unequivocally condemns racism, including any and all past racism by individuals both inside and outside the church." The statement quotes a former Mormon church president saying, "No man who makes disparaging remarks concerning those of another race can consider himself a true disciple of Christ. We then asked if that applied to Brigham Young. And a church spokesman said, "The statement is what it is regarding our church history." That's it. The statement is what it is. So, did Mormon men Mitt Romney's age actually believe or ever believe what their hero Brigham Young taught them about the African race, that they would die on the spot if they had sex with a black woman? Mitt Romney knows he will never have to answer that question because the conventions surrounding the politics of religion mean that question will never be asked.